Hi, I'm Frank and this is my fast format TT 2025 visitor guide. We're only 6 days away from the event, so let me tell you how to make the most out of what is without a doubt the most amazing motorbike race on earth. Those of you who already know my channel and know me, you will know I live in the Isle of Man. Most TTs, when I'm on the island, I'm out and about every single day trying to give you a lot of behind the scenes stuff, paddock walks, riders, spectators, the lot. No different this year, I'll be out and about every single year. Now normally I do really lengthy and very detailed visitors guides, they're an hour long, but then I realized these days people have the attention span of a fruit fly, and quite frankly, an hour long video?
Ain't nobody got time for that.
So instead, this year I'm going to do a much faster format. Everything I talk about is links in the description, so you can read that up in peace later. Let's dive right into it. Let me give you the key bits that you may need or that might come in useful if you are visiting or if you're planning to visit or if you watch from afar. So let's start with the format of TT 2025. It runs from the 26th of May until the 7th of June. It's the new, more packed format that they brought in a couple of years ago. Some say it's great for the fans, more racing, more going on the track. Some say it stretches the rider, it fatigues them too much, and it doesn't leave much time for weather delays. I'll leave you to make up your mind. We usually differentiate it, we split it into practice week and race week. Practice week tends to be slightly quieter, slightly cheaper if you come here to visit and spectate. Race week is of course the big one, and it culminates, it climaxes on the 7th of June with the senior race day, which is the biggest race, the one everyone wants to win. If you come there, it's going to be most packed, and then after that, the island goes back to sleep until TT 2026. Now, before you can watch the TT, you first of all have to get here. There's really only two ways, and that's by air and by sea. But if you leave it this late for this year, only 6 days away from the event, you're going to find it very hard to get either flight tickets or boat tickets. Your best chance with that one is if you come by sea. We only have one ferry company, that's the Steam Packet, link here and everything also in the description. They usually open the bookings 1 year in advance. So if you're planning to come to TT with your car or bike, you should book it now. Today they opened the bookings for TT 2026. Go to their website, you can reserve a ticket, won't give you the full price, they don't know that till later, but you can reserve your spot. If you're planning to still come this year, you can try the Steam Packet, maybe you get in on standby with your car or bike. Usually you can still get foot passenger tickets if it's just you coming over from Heysham or Liverpool, or they also have sailings to Belfast and Dublin. But if you're on a bike or on a car and you want to come this year, it's going to be tight. There's only so many sailings they can do, there's only so many vehicles they can carry, and it's usually booked out. One thing you can try if you really want to come, there's a lot of Facebook groups where people sell their tickets if they can't make it, and you can pass them on, you can change the name. And then maybe you can get someone else's ticket and still attend with your car or bike. If you're on foot, usually you can still get a ticket. We have the bigger boat now, the Manxman, more passengers on it. So, you know, you have a chance, but usually if you come with 2 or 4 wheels, it's always best to book a year in advance. If you're traveling here by air, as apparently more and more of you are doing since the TT is being shown in the US, and finally you people across the pond get to see some real motorsport and not just cars going around in ovals, which is really snooze-inducing.
Oh no, he didn't.
There's only one airport here, that is Ronaldsway International, Ronaldsway Airport, Heathrow on Sea, whatever we call it. It had millions spent on it, nothing to show for it. It's been mismanaged for years, so expect a real treat. No, it's not that bad. It's slowly improving, but there are some issues with it. This year they checked or they changed the security machines and they screwed something up and there were massive queues, people missed their flights. So top job just before TT, well done. Let's hope it doesn't happen during TT. Do expect delays because we don't have enough air traffic controllers. So there will be, sometimes you will be in the air and the captain will come on and say traffic controllers have their tea break. They're not. We don't have enough controllers. They have to take breaks. It means sometimes you're circling a bit before you can land. Sometimes you're staying on the plane before you can take off. It happens, it's just an Isle of Man thing, it's the previous management screwing up. We have an open skies policy, which means any airline can fly here as it pleases. At the moment, our main airlines are EasyJet, Logan Air and Aer Lingus. Check the website or the links below. Check the airport's website for any more information. Of course, sea and air travel prices skyrocket during TT, so if you book something short notice, yes, it will hurt. Yes, you may have to sell an organ to come here. That's simply supply and demand. That's just the way it works. Usually during the summer and during TT, the airport is relatively reliable, especially if the weather is good. Sea and air, this is an island. If the weather turns bad, expect delays, expect cancellations, but usually in the summer it's not that much of an issue. So, you know, you should be able to come here, but if you leave it this late, it may be very hard. And if you can make it here, it's going to be very expensive. Once you make it here, you're going to need somewhere to stay. And there are three main options for you. Number one is hotels. We don't have that many of them, but we're getting more. Most of them will be booked out by now. But if you want to book for next year, I recommend you book early. We have some really nice new ones. And we're going to stick a few links below for the ones that, you know, are more decent. Number two, you can go camping or glamping, more and more popular, plenty of campsites here, usually still space there. They're never really that full as if you couldn't squeeze another tent in. Also, I'm going to link to all the ones that I can find below. So if you're into camping and glamping, not a problem, plenty of space here on 2 and 4 wheels, or just if you're foot passenger. But usually they are a little bit outside, so it's good if you have transport. And option 3 is our local version of Airbnb if you want, and that is called homestay, because we don't have enough hotel rooms or B&Bs and that kind of thing. The government years and years ago introduced something called homestay, where people can open their own houses and apartments, rent out the spare room. It's being checked by government first to make sure it's safe, as long as it's homestay accredited. This is the link to the website and also below. These are government checked and accredited. These are officially registered. If you're not homestay registered, be careful, because they may not have insurance cover, or they may not, you know, tax it properly. The house may not be safe. So homestay is our sort of Airbnb if you want. Check it out there. There's usually still spaces available. Or if you want to book, you know, a year in advance or a long time in advance, that's also advisable. Homestay, people can make their own prices, just like hotels can. So you have to see, some people just do it for the love of the event. Some people do it to make a lot of money. Just check out the ones and pick one that you're comfortable with. Once you made it here, you obviously want to watch the races. And there are two main ways to watch TT racing. And that is for free and paid for. Traditionally, and the way I like to watch the TT, is for free, because it happens on public roads that we close for the racing. You can stand on many, many places along the track, and you can watch for free as the bikes go past you, sometimes this close. It's still possible. However, a lot of the areas where you were allowed to stand in the past have been made restricted or prohibited areas. I'll explain to you in a second what those are. And they tend to get more and more every year. Sometimes I feel they do it deliberately, not because of health and safety, but to force people to, for example, sit on the grandstand and pay for tickets. So your second option is we get more and more grandstand. This is the main one in Douglas, where also we have the start line right there. That house, by the way, used to be owned by the council until someone decided to sell it. Really stupid decision. They could have made something out of that, but hey ho, that's council for you. So if you decide to go on the grandstand, the prices here compared to if you used to MotoGP or Formula 1 are very, very reasonable. It used to be free during practice week to sit on this grandstand at least. Now I think they charge a $5. And even on senior race day, the biggest racing day of the year, the big one, the one everyone wants to see, win and watch, it's about 50 quid to sit there. So it's very, very reasonable. You can buy the tickets online, links in the description. Also next to the official ones, so there's one here, there's a couple in the fan zone. Other organizers are also doing TT viewing spots. For example, Duke Travel, they have a new area down at Bray Hill, which is a great spot to watch. They are down at Blacktop. I'll link to them below. Not getting paid by anyone here, it's just giving you options of where to watch from. I appreciate the crowd is changing at the TT. Many of you don't want to sit on a hedge anymore with a beer in your hand. You want to sit in a comfortable air-conditioned place with a glass of champagne or something. If you want VIP, also there's a VIP area and tent here, or you can just sit in the fan zone and watch it for cheap, or you can stand along the road for free. If you are planning to watch the TT for free, as you really should, because that's the true spirit of the event, stand at the side of the road, sit on a hedge, watch the bikes go by, then there are a few important things you please need to keep in mind for your own safety and for the successful running of the event. We have a number of, and unfortunately this number is growing every year, partially I think due to health and safety, partially I think they want more people to buy tickets, but we have a big number of restricted and prohibited areas around the course where you are not allowed to stand. They're very easy to spot, big triangle signs. If you see that, do not go there. You will see some photographers with the official bibs going into restricted areas. They are allowed to do that within reason. There are certain rules for them. So only that you see a photographer there doesn't mean you're allowed to go there. Also, usually there are marshals everywhere. If you're not sure if you're allowed somewhere, ask them. They will tell you. If a marshal tells you to leave a certain area, please also listen to them. They are there for your safety. And most importantly, if you are a normal spectator, do not enter a restricted area. Do not enter a prohibited area. Number one, safety. The TT is not like other motorsport events. You are getting really, really close. If you are somewhere where you shouldn't be, you may get injured or killed. And that's no kidding and no, overhyping. It just happens, and plenty of spectators have died. Number 2, you may get in trouble with the law because you are somewhere where you shouldn't be. And number 3, you may stop the racing because if race control, who are up here, find out that you're in a prohibited area, the marshals radio them, then maybe you are the reason that race has to be stopped. And that means 50,000 people will be really, really pissed off with you. Also, a couple of more things when you watch from the side of the road. Number 1, no selfie sticks at the side of the track, please. Shouldn't have to explain that one. If you hang your phone out and a bike hits at 200 miles an hour, it's not going to be pretty. So please be careful. No selfie sticks at the side of the track. Don't hang your phone out too far. The bikes do come close here. This is not MotoGP, this is not kindergarten or Disneyland, okay? This is dangerous. The bikes do come close. There is nothing stopping you from getting hit from a bike if you act stupid. Don't do it. Number 2, the whole TT course, only during roads closed periods, is a no drone zone. So do not fly your drone within, I think it's within a mile, at least 1,000 meters, might be a mile, from the TT course when the roads are closed. Outside of road closures, you are usually fine, but if not sure, do check with the airport here. Also, the airport and the prison are our only other firm no drone zones outside of TT, 5 kilometers outside of the airport and just within sort of the confines of the prison in Derby. You're very unlikely to come across that, but if you do bring your drone, you're allowed to use it outside of TT, roads closed. If you want to get some shots of the mountain or whatever, you're welcome to, but not during the racing when the roads are closed. So not just the racing, as soon as the roads are closed. In regard to roads closed, this is also the most important rule probably. When the roads are closed here, it means they are legally a racetrack. You are not allowed to cross the road, step on the road, go past the barrier where it says roads closed. If you do so, you will be arrested. Simple as that. You will end up in court. We have seen as the crowd changes, as new people come who are not familiar with the TT, you will see, or we have seen, an increase in people crossing the road when they shouldn't do, or when the roads are closed. Please don't do it. You will not be able to get out of the way of the bikes. They are too fast. And again, you may delay racing, you may get into legal trouble, you may lead to racing being cancelled and 50,000 people hating you. So the really, really major rule is, I know some of you go to, for example, rally events where you can cross the stage during cars or between cars. You cannot here. If the road is closed, it is legally a racetrack. Sometimes if there are delays, they will open official crossings, and we have a number of footbridges that you can use. Outside of that, do not cross closed roads. It's illegal. How do you know that the roads are open again? Well, it's 37 3/4 of track. The way we do this is we have what's called the roads open car. That will leave once racing is over or racing for the day has been declared as finished. As soon as you see the roads open car, it's very easy to spot, big flashing lights, sign on it, roads open. As soon as that's past you, wherever you are on the track, you're allowed to cross the road again. Instantly, the moment it's went past you, this is a public road again. Anything in front of the roads open car is the racetrack. Don't do what some supreme idiots have done and either go out in front of the roads open car or chase the roads open car. Both will get you arrested and stopped by the police real quick, and you will end up in court, and that's your TT over. Now, of course, you want to look the part when you watch the TT, and that means you need some merchandise. And in previous years, well, 2-3 years ago, the government screwed up, left the contract too late. The people who always did the merch threw in the towel. We had a couple of years where we had really crappy overpriced merch from some windy UK company that went bust and ended up owing millions. Of course, the government never admitted they screwed up. Why would they? This year, the merch looks pretty good. 2 types of merch here. The official stuff, anything that has TT on it is trademark. TT is the trademark, okay? It's the 2 letters you're not allowed to use unless you pay the government here handsomely for it. So if you go into town, there's a merch shop, of course, behind the grandstand here, and there's plenty in town. There's a big one on the promenade. There's one or 2 in Strand Street. The hospice shop in Strand Street also, if you want to buy there and the profits go to charity, that's a nice one. But if you buy the official merch that says TT on it, that will cost you more. And if you look in the shop for any merch that doesn't say TT on it, it may say Isle of Man Road Racing, Isle of Man Mountain Course, anything but TT, you will find it's roughly half the price. So these are your 2 ways to buy merch here. Of course, you can buy it online as well, links in the description. So anything with TT is official TT merch. Anything that doesn't say TT is still TT. It just doesn't say the 2 letters, and thereby they don't have to pay for the trademark, and thereby it's much cheaper. So you want cheaper merch, if you're a cheapskate like me, buy the one that doesn't say TT. Oh, and while you're buying stuff, of course, get yourself a program. Only costs 10 quid, has all the entries in it. The tradition is that you put in the qualifying times, and then you can follow it during the race. You sit at the side of the road with your pencil in your hand. That's what we tend to do here. But definitely do get yourself a program, because they're only a tenner, and it has all the riders in it and a ton of information, and it's really good value for money. It's for sale in pretty much all the shops here, Tesco, merch shops, wherever. You won't have trouble picking one up. Behind me here is Parc Fermé, where in a few days the bikes will line up, ready to go racing. Now, if you want to watch the racing, there's a few options. Of course, if you're not here in person, or even if you are here in person, there's TT Plus. Now, in the olden days, we used to go out with 10 camera teams, and I used to work for them. And we used to film it all, and then we used to edit it, and then you used to be able to just watch it on TV at night. There was no live coverage of the TT because the track is so bloody big. These days, the guys from Greenlight actually came up with a really cool idea. They essentially placed something like 25 plus glorified webcams around the track. That means you can now watch it live via something called TT Plus. Here's the link to it, also below. Costs something like, what is it this year? 23, 24 quid for the 2 weeks, plus the whole year you can rewatch it as much as you want. Fantastic value for money if you want to follow the TT live and watch it. That is absolutely highly recommended. You also get a few local streamers still sticking their cameras out and putting it on Facebook, which, I mean, by all means watch it, but I find it pointless because TT Plus is such a good product now that, you know, this is just the best experience that you can have. If you're away, and even if you're here, now the track is really big, so if you watch from trackside, there's going to be long periods of time where there's nothing happening. And if you have the TT Plus app open, you can see where the bikes are, you know, you're not too bored. So that's a really cool way to watch it. On TV in the UK, I know it's going to be on ITV4. They always have the rights for it. Schedule link in the description. Now I need your help as viewers to tell me where it is on TV in your country. Stick the links in the comments, please. Let's help each other. So I know, in future what channels to mention, and everyone who watches this video can check the comments and knows where to watch it in your particular country. For example, in the US, I believe it's on TV where, but I couldn't tell you which channel. So let's help each other out. Of course, we also have the famous Manx Radio TT, so you can listen to race commentary on AM 1368. You can either buy one of those horribly overpriced little radios in town, 12 quid for a piece of plastic from China, I find crazy, which is your one-ear radio that's tuned to AM 1368, or just, if you have a smartphone, get a radio app, AM 1368, Manx Radio TT. Also Manx Radio FM, they are the official station essentially doing the commentary, and then you get your radio commentary if you don't have data or TT Plus subscription. Speaking of data, when you come here as a visitor, especially if you come from far afield, or even if you're just from the UK, you will find that the Isle of Man for mobile reception or mobile coverage is not part of the UK. So make sure that if you do travel here from further afield, or even if it's just the UK, that your roaming package for data covers the Isle of Man. Because even if you're from the UK, your provider will very likely treat this here as roaming. So make sure it does have that. If you do need a local SIM card, we only have two providers, and that is Manx Telecom and Sure. Sure is one of the TT sponsors. I've compared both data packages. Sure one looks better to me, costs you a £5, comes with 7 days unlimited data. Manx Telecom, similar price, but there's a data cap on it. So especially if you want to stream and stuff like that, probably Sure is your better one. But these are only two suppliers. Check them out online, or their shops are in Douglas and Strand Street, right next to each other, 50 meters apart. Hop in there, pick up a SIM, don't need your password or anything, just pay, stick the SIM in, and you'll have plenty of data coverage, which, by the way, we do not have 5G here, but there is relatively okay-ish 4G coverage for most of the island. Of course, during TT, if loads of people hang out here at the grandstand, for example, the network usually gets on its arse. There are some blind spots. Botmore Bray Hill, you won't get anything, but it's generally sort of hit and miss okay. And also Sure, who's one of the TT sponsors, they tend to put in a free Wi-Fi at the grandstand, and the last few years when I used it, it used to work pretty okay. So you can try that one as well. But generally we have pretty wide either Sure or Manx Telecom 4G coverage for your data. Just make sure that whatever provider you have covers you for roaming, or get yourself a local card. If you need to buy anything else, then of course shopping here is not a problem at all. It might be a small island, but we're pretty well equipped these days. Now, if you've been here in the past and you remember there being a ShopRite down the road here from the grandstand, that's no more. ShopRite sold out. All the ShopRites are now Tesco's. So plenty of Tesco's over here. We don't have Asda, Morrison, Little, Aldi, anything like that. Don't start looking. But we do have a lot of Tesco's who are pretty cheap. So if you want to pick up your booze for the evening, or if you want to pick up some camping equipment, Tesco stocks some really cheap stuff. Your folding chairs for like 8-9 quid a piece. Looks really reasonable. Other stores, if you need camping equipment, I would recommend you head down Strand Street in Douglas, our main shopping street. You have Jack stores there, you have Mountain Warehouse, those kind of guys who will sort you out with your camping equipment. But generally in terms of, shopping and supplies, you'll be absolutely fine here. Keep in mind that Tesco, I think, is open until 10 most days, closes earlier on Sunday. They may adjust for TT, but most shops here, and especially the high street, most shops will be closed by 5:30, 6 the latest. So, you know, don't leave it too late to go shopping. This is not like Manila or somewhere where you have 24/7 shopping. Doesn't happen. One other very famous and very important aspect of the TT races are the Marshals. You will see them around. We call them the Orange Army because they all wear orange in their uniforms or in their high-vis jackets. And you will see them all across, all along the track. There's over 900 of them who have to be here for racing to take place. No Marshals, no racing. It's that simple. So the main rule really is, you know, they are there for your safety and to enable racing to take place. So the first rule is, you know, be nice to them, be respectful, but more importantly, do consider signing up. They're going to have their van here. You can sign up on the spot and you can become part of the TT races and part of helping to make it happen rather than just watching it. So whatever you do, you know, if the Marshals give you advice, please listen to them, even if it's annoying, even if they tell you to move somewhere, they're there for your safety. But more importantly, do consider signing up because no Marshals and no racing. As you can see there in the background, everyone's busy preparing for the TT. Now, in a few days' time, there will be tons of burger vans here and plenty of places to eat. We also have the fan zone again. I'll get to entertainment in a minute. So you're not going to be short of anything to eat. Price-wise, it's probably not as bad as certainly not as bad as Formula 1 or MotoGP. If we ever get that bad, we should stop. It's going to be a little more pricey if you're up here at the grandstand. One tip I can give you is the Halewood Center. Go in there, get yourself a cheap coffee or tea and a sandwich and a cake, and it all goes to a good cause. So that's one of my favorite places to go during the TT. Also, of course, there's plenty of choices in town and all over the island. We have some pretty decent restaurants these days, so you know, you're not going to be short of finding anything to eat or drink. Again, it's cheaper if you go down to Tesco to get your beer rather than buy it in the fan zone, but there will be security and these annoying G4S people who tend to be complained about a lot. Not just by me with ladders, I know. No, but you know, they'll be here, so you can't bring beer into the entertainment zone, for example, but nothing stopping you from going out to Tesco, grabbing a few beers, sitting at the side of the road and watching the racing as you should. On the entertainment front, there's plenty going on during the 2 weeks here. The island really comes alive. There's a few key things. Again, I'm going to stick the What's On guide and all the links below so you can just go through them at your own leisure. The main things, we have the fan zone here, which never used to be a few years ago. Really good invention, actually. You have big screen TV viewing. You're right by the track, there'll be bands there, and of course all the post-race press conferences and you know the rider interviews, they are now taking place in this fan zone on the stage rather than they used to be in the grandstand here in a tiny little room with just the media and nobody got to see the riders. And now they changed it, they'll be on stage, everyone can see them, everyone can cheer them, which is really cool. So after the race, make sure you're in the fan zone, plenty going on there until the evening. However, I also recommend very strongly that you pop down into Douglas, which is now a city after the Queen made us a city. I was one of the councillors who was there when it happened. Woohoo! Did I mention the Pope also gave us a cathedral? It's not bad for a first-term councillor, is it? So, up here is really nice, but do consider going down into Douglas. Plenty of pubs there. Also, the Bushies TT Village at the Villa Marina Gardens is back. And there is a new festival or market kind of thing in the bottleneck car park by the sea terminal. Now, those among you who have been to the TT many times in the past will remember that's where the original Bushies tent used to be. That is long gone, unfortunately. TT has calmed down as far as the entertainment is concerned. Last 3 years I didn't see a single burnout, which is absolutely scandalous. But where the Bushies tent used to be, there's going to be a new Manx-made sort of market festival kind of thing. Do go and check that out because the island has a lot to offer in terms of great products, everything from food to booze to whatever you can imagine, knitwear and so on. So go down there and check that out. Also plenty of other things going on all around the island. Now, one big change is the Ramsey Sprint is no more. That's a little bit sad. Many of you will have gone there if you've been here before, but there's other things going on. You know, check out Peel, Ramsey, everywhere else. And I will stick as many links as I can find with things that are going on into the description. Trust me, for the 2 weeks that you are here, you will not be bored. There will be plenty to do. Okay, one thing we should probably cover is how you get around to all these different things. Well, the best way to get around the Isle of Man really is by either car or bike. Yes, we have public transport and it's pretty decent. There's a special bus timetable for TT because the road closures, etc. Link to it below. You can take the buses here, they're very cheap. We have travel cards as well that are valid for a set number of days. Again, link below, buy the one that you need. It's pretty decent, they're all very nice new buses. The guys who bought them obviously, you know, were very free spending with our tax money, which is costing us now, but let's not go there. So yeah, bus you can use, but really your best way is by car or by bike. Actually, there's one of the buses coming. See, all nice and shiny. Rental cars are going to be hard to get because they're going to be booked out. Same for rental bikes, very hard to get if you leave it this late. If you leave it earlier, you might be able to get one. We do also have horse trams, Victorian electric trams, and of course the steam trains. Now they are more like a leisurely thing to experience rather than something to commute or get around with, but do check them out. Links in the description. And they're well worth checking out, especially on non-race days. So if there are any sort of weather delays, you know, go out and have some fun with that kind of thing, because the island has a lot to offer. Now, many of you will be coming here on 4 wheels and especially 2 wheels, and you're going to come here with the intention of having fun, because the Isle of Man is, of course, known to be a petrolhead mecca. Yes, it's true, we still don't have a national speed limit, but the island changes. The way this is enforced and handled changes during TT compared to outside of the event. And there's a few important things you need to be aware of. Number one, if you come here outside of TT, there are still plenty of roads. Used to be a lot more, but there's still plenty of roads where there are no speed limits. In theory, if the road is clear, you can go as fast as you want. No problems with that. People do that all the time. Our road safety record here is safer and better than the UK's, despite not having MOTs or speed limits, which shows you that a lot of the stuff the UK does is basically just money grabbing and BS. But when you come here during TT, you will find that a lot of the roads that don't have speed limits during the year suddenly do have 40 or 50 limits on them, sometimes 60 limits. That is done by the police. That's a relatively recent thing, a few years they've done it now, and basically they're doing a balanced approach. The mountain road becomes one way during TT from Ramsey to Douglas. Used to be only during Mad Sunday, now we do it the whole 2 weeks, which is the right thing to do. That is where you can have your blast, where you can go fast. There are still some other roads that are unrestricted, but many will have limits on them, and that is so the cops have a chance to manage it. There are 40 to 50,000 of you coming here, around about 20,000 on bikes. We only have 200 odd cops. They're not bringing in more cops, they're bringing in more cars and bikes, but the cops are just the cops we have, and they're trying their best, same as our other emergency services, to manage the chaos, and they're doing a fantastic job, and they're working very hard to balance fun with keeping everyone safe, because the island doesn't stop. People still go to work and, you know, go shopping and so on. So to balance this, they brought in this approach that many of the roads we have where there's normally no limit now have limits during TT, but the mountain is still where you basically, I wouldn't say go wild because you should do it responsibly, but where you can go fast and have a bit of fun. Couple of very, very important rules. Number one, if you see speed limits anywhere, and they're well posted everywhere, especially the temporary ones, big signs, stick to them absolutely religiously, even if it annoys the hell out of you, even if you don't understand why suddenly on this straight there's a 50 limit. Stick to it, stick to it, stick to it religiously. The reason being, the cops will be out and they will enforce. If there is a speed limit, they will at some point, almost 90% sure, they go around and they will be there with a laser gun. We don't have fixed speed cameras, don't worry about that, but they will be there with their laser guns, and if they catch you, you're going to pay, or your TT might be over before it even started. One prime point for this, by the way, and I might go there and do some live streaming just for fun. Ramsey Hairpin, when you go up to the mountain will change. When it goes one way, they're going to put a ton of cones out, and the no limit sign is going to be further up than it usually is. Again, if you're used to the Isle of Man, you know what I mean. Do wait until you see the unlimited sign before you put your foot down, and only put your foot down when it's actually safe to do so. Do not go faster. If you go up to the hairpin, there's a 30. Drive 30, because they're always at the hairpin with the laser gun. And again, your TT might be over before it even started. So if you see speed limits, golden rule, I mean religiously stick to them. Don't even think about going any faster. Where there's no speed limit, go fast if the road is empty, dry, and if it's safe to do so. Yes, you can go fast here, but if you do drive stupid, you can still be pulled over and you can still end up in court. So we put the responsibility on you as the visitor and the rider and the driver to use this freedom we give you responsibly. Simple as that. But if you see speed limits, seriously, just stick to them, even if it annoys the hell out of you. Number two, drink driving or drug driving. Absolute, huge, massive no-no. Shouldn't have to say this, but every year still people get caught doing it. Strangely, a lot of them are locals. So the worst behaved ones, in fairness, are often the locals. But don't even think about drink or drug driving. So if you get stopped here for drink driving, you're going to end up in Derby jail really, really quick. And they have drug wipes here now. So if they suspect you of drink driving, or if they do stop you and they suspect something's wrong, they will drug wipe you. And if there's one thing that gets you to prison here faster than anything else, it's drugs. Absolutely zero tolerance. This is not the UK. You can't just get your doobie out and sit on the lawn somewhere. If the cops see you, you're done. So, you know, whatever you do in your spare time, I don't care. But if you do it here, do expect to get into trouble if the police find out. Also, when it comes to driving and riding here during TT, yes, we drive on the left, shouldn't have to say that. It is so easy. The accidents happen, especially you European friends who come over here. You take a rest, you hop back on your bike, and you ride off on the wrong side of the road. It's happening so many times, and people have been injured and killed with that. So always remind yourself seriously and look after your mates. We ride on the left. During TT, it doesn't matter if you're 2 wheels or 4 wheels. On the mountain it may be different because it's one way, but any other roads, the roads here are narrow, they're twisty, there are thousands of blind corners. Lane discipline is absolutely saving lives. Stick to your side of the road. If there's a corner and you can't see it, do not move out to look around the corner. Slow down and go around the corner. Learn the courses here. The roads here bite. Okay, this is not like driving or riding anywhere in Europe or in the UK. It's different. The roads here bite, they hurt. And the last few years, the police and everyone has managed to have 0 fatalities on open roads. None of your visitors who come here were killed on the open roads. That's fantastic. And we want to try and keep it that way. So please respect this island, respect the roads, stick to your lane, stick to the speed limits, don't drink and drug drive, and you'll be absolutely fine. And you can still go on a mountain and you have your blast and you can do 160 down the mountain mile if you dare to. Just make sure that you're actually, you know, capable of doing it and not making an ass of yourself, because again, you may end up in trouble. A couple of other vehicle related things. Fuel, not a problem, plenty of petrol stations here. Yes, the prices are eye-watering. We're actually very similar to the UK, usually the same, maybe a penny or two more. Plenty of them around. Not all of them are 24/7. Again, stuff here closes early. So go to EVF in Peel Road. I think that's a 24/7 one. You can go there. But other than that, you know, some of them, they do close quite early and they may not open until 7 or 8 a.m. in the morning. Keep that in mind. If you come with an electric car, then first of all, my sympathies. I actually swapped my electric car for this thing. I'm not regretting it as much as I love my i3, but if you have an electric car, the fastest charger we have is at the C terminal. It's only a 50 kilowatt, where it's a 75 kilowatt shared, but 50 kilowatt max. Unfortunately, that's the fastest we have. There's tons of little pot points with 7 kilowatts. Just check the app and you'll be fine here. It's not a problem. There's plenty of them. If you need one where you can park longer, go into look up Shoresborough car park. You can park there all day and charge if you need to do that. Also, in terms of parking, in Douglas, while doing TT, we have along Douglas Promenade, you'll find it's mostly disc parking for 2 hours. But during TT, the normal rules kind of go out of the window big style, because there's too many people here and the enforcement is sort of going into ultra lenient mode. So if you have a UK number plate on your car or bike, or any foreign number plate that's not Manx, I'm not saying you should park like an ass, but it's very unlikely that you will get a ticket, or if you get a ticket, that it can be enforced against you. So, you know, they may, if they even give you a ticket, usually they just give up during TT. If you're on a bike, you can pretty much do what you want anyway. If you're down on the prom in Douglas and you want to go to Bushies or check out our lovely town centre, sorry, city centre now, then you'll find there's a green strip on the left on the prom. That's usually, it's meant to be where the horse tram is going, but it is being used as basically bike parking. Just plonk your bike there, it's fine. Nobody will complain. Also on the other side, wherever the tarmac area of the prom is, the sidewalk pavement where it's wider, you can park there, nobody will complain. We do not have wheel clamps, we do not have towing. The only time you will get towed is, and this is important with parking, is if you park on the track and the roads are about to close. This happens also every year. People park where I'm now here in the pit lane, for example, that is open outside of racing. You can go here, park here, do whatever you want. But if racing comes along, people need to move their cars. If you don't move your car or bike and it's still there a few minutes before the roads are due to close, then a tow truck will come up, load your car or bike up, and you have to phone the police and get it back because your bike's in the way of racing. So, you know, nothing gets in the way of racing. That's the only time we will tow your car, if you park basically somewhere where you're in the way. Other than that, don't worry about clamping or fixed speed cameras or towing or any of the other horrible things they do to motorists in the UK. Because we're not the UK, we actually like people with cars and bikes. Emergencies and healthcare really quick. If you have an emergency, 999 is our joint emergency services control room. So whatever you need, police, ambulance or fire, dial 999 from any phone. Works without SIM, works in any way. And they will be able to help you. Emergency service here are absolutely amazing. They'll be with you as fast as they can. They are stretched during the TT, so, you know, if you don't really need an ambulance, then maybe don't use them. Instead, we have 2 hospitals. We have the main hospital, which is Noble's Hospital in Douglas. That's the main A&E, or ER if you're American, where you can go. It will be busy. It's busy during the year because due to political incompetence, our healthcare service is pretty screwed, and you're going to wait. That's just, unavoidable, I'm afraid. It's going to, of course, be worse during TT. And we also have Ramsey Cottage Hospital, which is, name suggests, in Ramsey. It's a smaller one. If you have minor injuries, they usually send you there. Links in the description with Google Maps links, so if you need to go there. Also, if you are from Europe, you may not be used to this. If you are from the UK or somewhere, you will. For most ailments or medications, you can just go to the pharmacy. You don't need a doctor. So you can buy stuff like ibuprofen and paracetamol in the supermarket anyway. Don't even need the pharmacy. For anything a bit more serious, go to the pharmacy. They're often able to help you. And then only if that doesn't work, consider going to one of the hospitals. And if it's a real emergency, 999 and you'll be fine. Please make sure that you have healthcare cover. If you're from the UK, you are covered. We have an agreement with the UK that healthcare costs are covered, same as the NHS, free at the point of consumption. If you are from somewhere else, you may end up with a bill, so please make sure you have sufficient healthcare coverage. Quick one on money and payments. We have our own currency here, the Manx pound. It's the same value as pound sterling. Essentially, it is pound sterling. It's just different notes and coins. If you leave the island with Manx notes in your pocket and you try and spend them, for example, in the UK or at the airport somewhere in the UK, they're not going to take them. So make sure that when you leave the Isle of Man and you have cash in your pocket, you swap it for British UK notes, or you just keep it as souvenirs. There are only 2 cash machines on the Isle of Man that only give English notes. If you want to be sure you only have English money, it's at the sea terminal and at the airport. All other cash machines may give you Manx notes and English notes mixed. They look pretty, and maybe you want to take one home as a souvenir, but those 2 cash machines only give you English notes. We also have our own coins. Make sure that if you take those across, shops across will not take them. But most shops here will take cards. That's absolutely no problem at all. Even the stands behind the grandstand these days, if the network doesn't drop on its ass, you'll be totally fine with any kind of card payments. You can even pay with Bitcoin in a few shops here. So as far as that kind of thing is concerned, card payments and that, everyone has a little thumbs up terminals now, so you'll be absolutely fine if you have any kind of major card in your pocket. As far as other stuff to do and see is concerned, I'm going to stick some links below for you to check out. The island has a lot more to offer than just the TT and racing. It's an absolutely beautiful place, especially in the summer with the weather like this. It's absolutely fantastic. Traditionally, during TT, there's always a couple of days. It's very rare that we have like a sunny TT. There's always a couple of days where it's rainy, or there's no racing or delays. Nothing at the TT ever happens on time. That's something you have to learn. One thing you have to be when you come and watch the TT is you have to be patient. We at the Isle of Man has its national motto, which is Trait de l'heure. That is Manx Gaelic and translates to time enough. And we live that. So, never rush anywhere. Very important also if you drive a ride here. Do not rush to your spectating spot. Do not leave it last minute to go. The popular spots like Botmore Bray Hill or Wagon Horses Jump or Ramsey Parliament Square, those kind of places, people will be there early. If you rush there and you crash, you may delay racing. A, you get injured or killed, but B, you may delay racing if you crash on the course. Happens all the time. Don't do that. Leave plenty of time. Make a day out of it. Go up, watch the racing from the mountain one day. Go up to Bungalow, stay up there all day. Don't rush. You'll be absolutely fine. Plenty of other things to see. If there's no racing, go to Peel, look at the castle, have an ice cream with Davidson's on the prom. Fantastic place. Go look at the Lexi Wheel, the largest working water wheel in the world. Plenty of other. Go to the Manx Museum in Douglas. That's free and has a TT exhibition, also free. Great place to go, especially if the weather is bad. I'm going to stick as many things as I can think of in the description down below in terms of what's on and what other attractions you can go and check out while you are here. Also, just to round this up, usually what I do, now when I was a councillor here until recently, my details were public anyway. They were literally outside town hall, my phone number and address. So my details are public already, and I've made this offer in the past, and I'm just going to repeat that here. If you are coming here for the TT and you have any kind of questions, or you're lost, or you need anything non-emergency related, if you have an emergency, 999. If you have any other questions, you're lost, or you just want to know something, here's my WhatsApp number. It's also in the description below, together with my email. I'm always happy to help people either who visit the Isle of Man, or increasingly a lot of you, if you look for my channel, you see a lot of relocation guides on there, because a lot of people are moving here, and many of them start with a visit to the TT, and they come here and they realize, this is actually a really nice place. Low taxes, no speed limits. Why am I still in the UK? More and more of you are moving here. So, if you just need any kind of questions, or if you indeed maybe want to consider moving here a little more permanently, then my contact details are below. I'm always happy to help. I'm not around 24/7. If I'm asleep, I won't reply. But if I get your message, I will reply. I'm always happy to help. Everyone on the island is very welcoming. We all want you to come here. We all want you to have a safe and a great time and plenty of fun and enjoy the racing and the island and everything it has to offer. But we also want you to return home healthy and alive. We don't want anyone to get hurt or killed here, and it takes all of us to make that happen. So I hope this very fast guide gives you a bit of an overview. I hope I'm not talking too fast. Usually these things are really long. I try and speed it up. Again, tons of links below. If there's any other questions you have, message me or put it in the comments. If there's any other videos or topics you want me to cover, put it in the comments. Please like and subscribe. I will be out every single day of TT 2025 doing something. I don't quite know what. I have a few new cameras, 360s and whatnot. So, I'm going to try and bring it next level, maybe do some streaming, who knows. Let me know what you want to see. Let's have a safe and awesome TT 2025. Thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe. See you next time.